Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is Director's Wheelchair Productions bringing you behind the scenes for another peek into the process. Before I begin, I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you. We've reached 50 subscribers. I know I put a post on it in these community tabs earlier, but I just wanted to say it with my voice in person. That I really appreciate your support. I've been doing this for about a year, almost a year now, and it's just been really heartwarming to me seeing the support this channel has been getting. Hope we can get 50 more by the end of the year. I know that's just 2 months, but hopefully I'll be able to pump out more content. My health isn't always on my side, but God is. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's get into the process. For today's video, we have a very special guest for a special spooky season episode. The one, the only, Blade. Now, just want you guys to take a good look at this. I'm really, really proud of this figure. One of my favorite, I think just my favorite custom period so far. A lot of work went into it, and I think it paid off beautifully. So first, I want us to take a look at the accessories, and then we can take a closer look at this figure. And here are all of his accessories all laid out. I'm going to start from the top and go down to the bottom. So, starting from the top, we have these 3D printed heads that I got off of eBay. I primed each of them with my Krylon acrylic white primer. And then I painted each one the skin with a mix of my Vallejo dark flesh, black, just a dab, and carmine red. I painted the eyes carmine red, as you can see, just to give him that like otherworldly, he is an actual half vampire look. And I put a gloss varnish on the teeth and on the eyes to simulate that organic, his teeth are lined with saliva, his eyes are moist type thing. His hair, I did a mix of I also used mahogany brown for the skin as well. For the hair, I did a mix of red, mahogany brown, and black, just so that it wasn't a solid black. And as you can see, these are very expressive heads. And for the inside of this mouth, inside of the mouth here, I used a mix of pink, carmine red. And I also put a gloss varnish on the inside of that as well. But yeah, these are very expressive heads. I love them. You really get the kind of range that Blade usually expresses. We got that smiling face for when he's proud of himself or just really, really enjoying slaying vamps.
I love my job.
Type energy. And also, with the heads came 3 sets of his famous shades, Blade shades. Now what I did was I tested the 3 pairs to see which one fit his head the best. This was the pair that came out and won. What I did was I Rit dyed this because it was just gray resin earlier because it was 3D printed, and then I can't tell if you can pick this up on the... Yes, you can. I put gloss varnish on the lenses so that as it faces the light, you can see it's reflecting it, catching it, looking like actual sunglasses. Now, next are the swords. Now, you might be wondering why I have 2 swords on the table, but only 1 sheath. Well, the thing is, that when you're customizing figures, sometimes you run into hiccups. My original plan for this figure was to have all the accessories come from the Mezco blade. I wasn't able to get the stakes from the MDX Mezco blade. Somebody else grabbed them before I did on eBay. That's just life. And I did end up getting the hands from the original blade figure, but I found out that the Mezco wrist pegs did not fit in to his arms there. So I had to improvise. I still went ahead. Then this was after I had gotten the sword, the Mezco sword and sheath. These are from the Mezco figure. Sheath goes in like so, nice and clean. Let's focus up. There we go. Very nice and cool look to it. I added a neodymium magnet here so that it could stick to his back. Let me, shoot. One sec. Let's try that again. Have the neodymium magnet on here and on the back. And boom. So, again, why two swords? The thing is, I mentioned the hands because you see how thin, not just the blade of this katana is, but the handle is very thin. And with these Valaverse hands, which I'll get to, wasn't really fitting well into them. It's just so thin, and the item holding hands are meant to hold thicker weapons like the 1/12 knives and machetes and pistols and assault rifles and whatnot that go with those types of figures. So I was like, okay, I can have that sword for display for when he has his sword sheathed, and when his sword is out, I'll use this, because this actually fits into the Valaverse item holding hands here quite nicely. And they have the vertical hinge, or is it horizontal? Let me know in the comments. Vertical, is this hinge a vertical or horizontal hinge on the on this hand here? But you see it fits quite nicely. This actually does, it didn't look like this originally. This is one of the blades that came with the Yamaguchi Revoltech Arkham Knight. So this is what it looked like before, because it came with, the figure came with a pair of these. So I took one, painted it. So for the paint, I used Vallejo black primer for the hilt, white primer around this area here, which I then painted with carmine red. And for the blade, I did a mix of silver and gray blue with a heavy usage of gloss varnish on the blade so that it can catch light quite nicely. Look like actual metal, actual silver, so that when the vamps come and meet the end of Blade's blade, they disintegrate, have a really hard time. So we have the one sword for display for when it's away, and one sword for use when it's out. Moving on down, speaking of silver, we have these stakes here, which, come on, let's focus up. There we go. There we go. Good camera. These are just made out of hot glue. I got some parchment paper, got a low temperature hot glue gun, and just shot lines of glue onto the parchment paper, let them dry. I trimmed the edges a bit so that they'd be a little bit stabby. they're not actually pointy. They don't hurt my fingers if I actually do that. But they look pointy. And I made sure that the tops of the steaks were a little bit wider than the bottom so that they could fit again into his item holding hands. So now we have almost the full length of the steak out, but at the very top we have that nub stopping it from just passing right through his hand. So I made a couple of these, and then I used an elastic strap from an Amazon journal that I had. Just cut it, super glued the ends of it, put it around his shoulder so that I can take it on or off, and just strapped him to his chest. And there we go. Up next, another Mezco accessory, the pump action shotgun with the shotgun blast effect that Mezco is also very good at making. Look at that. That is beefy. That is nice. So you have the pump action. We have the removable shotgun blast effect made in that just incredible translucent plastic with a nice yellow paint job on it. And the shotgun comes with a removable arm strap. So what I did with Blade is before I put his jacket on him, I make sure that I put the loop on him like so. Make sure it gets all up under that shoulder wedge there, so it doesn't easily fall off. It dangles next to him, right? And then once he has his jacket on, it's hidden. And it also works because the set of Valiferous hands I got, I know I'm going a bit out of order now at this point, but this hand is made specifically for holding like the bottom of a shotgun or other long guns. So this is the hand that I would use to, simulate the pump action with the shotgun, and I can use his right trigger hand to just hold it, have it just bring the shotgun up from under his jacket. And then, speaking of the jacket, here it is. It is a pleather wired jacket. Got it off of eBay, specifically from GPS Slot. I have bought from him before many a time. He has never ceased to amaze. He is, I think, one of the greats when it comes to the custom soft goods community. He has a huge catalog of stuff. Coats, capes, shawls, even a couple of costumes for almost any figure you can imagine. He probably has it. So shout out to GPS Slot for this jacket. It fits on him quite nicely, as you saw at the beginning of the video. I'll put it back on him later. Moving on down, we have the Mezco Mac 10, I believe, submachine gun. You know how Mezco is. They put their little spin on the design of their stuff, so it doesn't look exactly like it did in the Wesley Snipes films. It's funny. An actor named after a gun plays a character named after a sword. But here's the submachine gun with a removable magazine, an extra magazine. Focus up. There we go. And another removable gunfire effect with an itty bitty silver bullet at the very end. Still with that translucent paint. It's a very good, highly detailed piece. And I took what was the remainder of that strap I used for his stakes, made a piece for his leg, super glued it, stretched it out, rolled it up his leg, and I took some floral wire for now to make a little C grip. The first one, let's see if I can get it right, goes through the trigger hole there, and then you secure it. And the other one is supposed to go around the handle. Oh, I put it on backwards. Let's try that one more time. One more time. If at first you don't succeed, try again. There we go. Because the idea is that Blade is armed, well, to the teeth.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So I want him to just have as many of his weapons on him as he can at all times, and just ready to draw, because you don't know when you're gonna run into a vampire in New York. Blade's always ready for that action. He's got the pole on him. He got the heat on him. You don't mess around with them. So let's try this one more time. And this would probably work if I used both my hands, right? You put the wire through the trigger hole, slide it around, fold it up there, and the top part of the wire. And this is just, again, a safe placeholder until I figure out something else. Find a proper holster for his leg. Because I was thinking of magnetizing it, like I did with the sheath, but I didn't want to drill into his leg. I felt it would just be a bit gratuitous. And you see how the sheath is kind of hanging off of him at an angle here. I didn't want the same to be the case with Blade's submachine gun here. I wanted to be as flush to his thigh as possible. As you can see, we have accomplished that. So there we have the fully armed Blade. But wait, there's more. His famous throwing blades from the movies. They put a smile on his face and they put a smile on mine. These are 3D printed. I painted the center bit, the black primer. There's some carmine right at the very center. And then for the actual blades, focus up, there we go. For the actual blades, and I have to, again, just shout out the craft work here. The points are pointy. We have these nice aerodynamic slits in there, and some serration at the very end here. But I painted these with the same mix that I used for the sword, the silver, the gray-blue, and the gloss finish to make it look metallic. Now, when I was shopping for these, I wanted two, but I wanted the ones that were foldable. Again, I wanted the Mezco ones because the Mezco ones were foldable. And when I saw the image for this pair of glaives, I guess that's what they're called. Again, shout out in the comments. What are these weapons called? Are they throwing blades? Are they glaives? What are they? I know they're not batarangs. Wrong franchise. So yeah, shout out in the comments. Sound off. Is this a horizontal or vertical hinge? And what the heck are these weapons called? So I want to give them a name instead of just throwing blades. But yeah, this one doesn't fold, which is what I was trying to get at. I thought it was foldable, which would have been really cool to animate at some point or just play around with. But a cool thing is that not only does he have the stakes to stab people, he can throw this, and I can put this in his item holding hand, and he can use it Did it earlier. Let's do it again. There we go. Almost got it. Stay with me, folks. There we go. You can use this like a karambit. You know, a knife that he's holding hammer style. Slits you across the throat. Up the, up the jaw, like from the chin up. Or just amplifying his punches, especially hooks and whatnot, hooks and uppercuts. But yeah, those are his weapons and accessories. And now let's get a closer look at the figure. I'm going to put a head on him, get him all dressed up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I decided not to put the jacket on him because it'll obscure a lot of the details that I want to show you guys when we take a closer look at the figure. So once I go through that, then I'm going to throw the coat back on him, and he'll be in all his Wesley Snipes tribute looking glory. So, we already went over the head. The base body is actually a Marvel Legends Killmonger from the Disney Plus What If series. So his sleeves were a very bright blue. He was wearing khaki type pants. The boots were already black. The chest plates here were a lot brighter. The character as a whole was a lot brighter. So, how did I get it like this? First, along with the sunglasses, I Rit dyed this figure in Rit Dymore synthetic graphite fiber dye. I had taken him apart at the biceps, the hips, the thighs, so that the dye could just permeate everything. As you can see, it was able to get the neck joint as well, but that's covered up by Blade's head, so that's not really a problem for me. After that, it was just basically just touching him up with some different highlights. I have around his jacket, or his vest, more accurately, this line of red that goes, there goes sunglasses, that go all the way around, that go up the top, up the middle of his vest and around the base of his collar. And then for the straps that are on the plastic, I put a red line through them. Let's see. There we go. Focus up. You can see that here on these straps, on that strap. It's on here too, but it's under under this strap. I painted these buckles silver, as well as the buckle for his pants. And then I went over his arms with just a coat of black primer, just to make it look more black. Because sometimes with the Rit graphite dye, the black can come out a little bit on the reddish side. So just to even that out, I put some black over his sleeves, over his pants, and then I did a gloss finish on his boots. He has really good articulation. His leg goes 90 degrees up. Has a crunchy double jointed knee that you can kick his upper back with it, not just his butt, his lower back with that very, very crunchy joint. We have the boot swivel. Doesn't go up much, but it goes down a whole heck of a lot. He has a waist swivel at the middle, ab crunch, I try not to do that too much because it can chew up the paint here a bit. I actually had to touch it up before this video because I've been playing around with it a bit, and the red, it was faded and a little bit chewed up. His arms, pretty well articulated. They go out, let's call that 91 degrees. Not exactly substantially past 90, but a little bit more than 90. He has double jointed arms. His biceps are so big that they don't quite do the fold that we all love to see, but it gets the job done. And his shoulders are so big that you can hang a shotgun off of it. So there's that. And then, of course, with the head, we just move these stakes around, get them in place. With the heads, I actually put some tack in the socket here so that they could fit on the peg here nice and snugly. But, you can do your side to side. The hinge works just fine. But you can do a lot of just tilting with the peg on there. And please, you excuse my dogs if you can hear them whining. They are just they're having their 6s and 7s for the past couple of weeks. I don't know why. They're just in a bad mood. I dropped his glasses. He can't see without his glasses. Yes, he can. Yes, he can, but he looks so much better with them on, though. Look at that. Look at that. So, finally, I'd like to remove his glasses. Remove his glasses before I put his coat on or interchange his hands, because like the jolt of that, it just knocks them right off. Let me take this off. And thanks to the wonders of magnetism, I can put that sheath right back on him and it just be on his back. All right. There we go. Move that stake. Get his arms forward. See how roomy and big this jacket is. And it just has the one wire, like the top of the collar isn't wired, it's just fabric, just pleather. But this one wire, it does, not just one, it has more. So it's wired down this way and also at the back here, but not on the bottom. But you get a lot of posability out of that. So if you want to get this jacket for your custom blade or for your vanilla Marvel Legends blade, go ahead and get it. You will not regret it. But there he is. Let's put the scabbard on his back, and as you can see, thanks to the power of magnetism, it's just on his back. I don't have to get a whole new apparatus for him to have the sheath on his back, whether the jacket is on or whether the jacket is off. One thing is that the sleeves are a little bit long, so if you want to put the hands on this, figure out how to pull the sleeves back a bit. Let's get some item holding hands on there. And then with these Valiverse hands, the pegs fit very snugly. So you want to do what I just did, just wiggle them on in, and it's a very tight fit. You don't have to worry about them popping out, falling off. The hinges are very well articulated. And here's what I was talking about with the shotgun earlier. You can just place that in his hand. Come on. Put the trigger finger through the trigger, put his finger on the trigger, and then let's grab that gun holding hand, not necessarily an item holding hand. This is meant specifically for holding long guns, shotguns, assault rifles, etc. And boom. Perfect fit. And he can't be Blade Brooks without those sunglasses, without those blade shades. This is so difficult to do on camera, guys. Forgive my bumbling. Please bear with me. There we go. There we go. Again, you can have him do the pump action. And you can have that blast action. Blade rolls up in the club. Anyway, he just started blasting. So yeah, there's that. Pose him up a little bit. He looks a little too happy. Looks a little enjoying himself a little too much using that boomstick there. But there it is. I'm gonna show you some size comparisons. I have another custom I want to show you. If you've been paying attention to the community tab, you've already seen it. But just wanted to show you how he pairs up with him and with another Protector of the Night. This is a very, very spooky season themed episode here, so the characters are going to be appropriate for that. Let's hide this back under his jacket, his coat. Stand him up straight. Fix them all up. I found that being a collector and a customizer in a way is, this might sound weird, but for me it's kind of like taking care of a plant. Not that you have to you don't have to water a figure, for instance, but you know, the way you want to display it, the artistry of it, I feel like it's just very deliberate and intimate and very much like taking care of a houseplant. You know, it's just the up close and personalness of it, trying to get everything right. So yeah, there he is, stood up. And our special guests for size comparison is my custom Maximum Symbiote Spider-Man and the Daredevil from the Hobgoblin wave. Now, when you look at Spidey next to Blade, and these guys, they've all teamed, what was it? Blade teamed up with Spider-Man, and Daredevil teamed up with Spider-Man in the 90s animated series, so I feel like this grouping makes sense as well. They've bumped into each other. And also they just look good together, the black and the red. But yeah, looking at the symbiote Spider-Man and Blade, that height comparison is pretty good. He is just a touch taller than Spidey, which I think makes sense. Blade's a big guy, and this version of Spider-Man is from the McFarlane run in the 90s. So this is after Peter Parker's a grown man. He's married to Mary Jane. She's pregnant. So this is fully grown Spider-Man. And fully grown Blade and fully grown Daredevil. Now with Daredevil here, or basically any Bucky Cap figure, because this is the Bucky Cap body from way back when, doesn't quite measure up to Blade. He's a half a head taller than him. But I am working on a fix for that. I'm actually working on a Daredevil custom in the back. I just finished with this, and I'm already working on another one. I can't wait to show you guys that. But there's the size comparison, and I'll show you guys the poses that I did for him, some pictures I took with him after this. And yeah, thank you guys for making it all the way to the end. I appreciate 50 subscribers. Let's try to get 50 more. I pray that you all have a blessed day. I pray that you all are blessed. Hope that you stay tuned. And as always, enjoy the action. This is Director's Wheelchair Productions, and I'll catch you all later.